Welcome back to the Keep Going podcast with Vin Kennedy. I'm your host, Vin Kennedy. Folks, we're almost there. It's Tuesday night, October 4th. I run my marathon the 9th. We are 5 days out. I leave in 3 days to head to Colorado. Just excited. And this podcast kind of goes hand in hand with me running my marathon, and just like the whole theme here is identity. It's like imposter syndrome, identity, kind of just becoming the person. So I feel like we'll dive right into it. We have this moment where when you're making changes and creating a new version of yourself, it's like, am I forcing this? Is this me? You kind of hit that awkward stage where it's like, if you just keep pushing through, you could become that person. But, you play that game in your mind where it's like, I don't know if that's actually me. I've done it multiple times in my life with tons of different situations. One of them is really running. Running's been like one of those things where like I was always slow. I was always the slow kid on the teams, and never the slowest, but like always towards the bottom. Always pretty athletic. I think I had good hand-eye coordination, but outside of that, whenever it came to like speed or running, it just was never a strong suit. So like to run a marathon and then to have the goal of I'm going to hit a sub 3-hour marathon probably in February. And it's just like mind-boggling, like, because that wasn't me. So it's so easy to get lost in that. And even, I have these track workouts like every Tuesday throughout this prep, and you go out there and you see times that my coach lays out for me to hit, and it's intimidating. And it's like, I'm not a runner. The months that kind of went on and compounded, like, I'm a fucking runner. Like I run, I do this. Like it's just doing the work and consistently chipping away at it, and you become the person. You create the self-belief through the actions. And I think it's so important to just do. And that even goes hand in hand, a little off topic, with like, I feel like a lot of people have the issue with starting, and we all have our strengths and weaknesses. I'm really, really good at starting things. I'm really consistent at doing things. I struggle in refining and making things better. I was just having a conversation with someone the other night about this. It's one thing to start. It's one thing to be consistent. But then at what point do you sit there and look at, social media, for example, sit there and look at the analytics of like, how can I make this better? So that's something I'm working on personally. But I think the one thing for a lot of people is just a self-belief to start. I did not coin the phrase, but I say it all the time. Like I'm delusionally, like I have delusional self-belief in myself. And it's sometimes I sound crazy. I feel crazy. Kind of love it. I'm delusionally optimistic. I'm delusionally just, the way I think about myself in my head, if it was portrayed outside, people would think I'm insane. Even the thoughts that cross my mind are nuts. Like what just crossed my mind is like, there's a clip of Kanye talking about, like he really thinks like if he wanted to go to the NBA right now, he can. I get it. There's limiting factors, but like I probably could go to the NBA. And I know that sounds ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous. And it's like, does he actually believe that? It's like, to an extent, yeah. Like I just know that I could get better at anything I do with consistency, with consistent action. I've just proven it to myself time and time again. And again, the NBA is like a wild, crazy one to like even be speaking about, but it's just getting better at tasks. It's getting better at activities. It's getting better at just life as a whole. Everything is just consistency. It's just hammering home the daily to-do list and just chipping away. It's the work that most people avoid. It's the hard, annoying work. Even today, I had to run, I think it ended up being almost 8 miles in the rain. I absolutely love that. Like that was the most fun I had all day. Like I'm happy people aren't out there, but like I'm screaming, I'm yelling, like I'm a clown. Like I'm a giant kid and just having fun with it. And it's cool. And it goes back to that where it's like, this was never me. Like I would have been the kid you had to pay to go hop out on the track in the rain, especially. Like, get out of here. But it's just that. Like when you do the work and you build up the confidence, you could do anything. And you realize that, and you unlock new levels, unlimited potential, and it changes your life for the better. I really do. I wish more people would just buy in, because so many people leave so much on the table. And this is something I've been speaking about with people that are close to me as well, where like a lot of people leave so much on the table as far as like they limit themselves in a crazy way. And there's so many people that are so much more talented than me in running or in lifting or in social media, in so many things. So many people are so talented in a crazy way. And it's just, they won't start. They don't have the self-belief to start or just stay consistent and continue. And it's sad, because it's like, if we all live to that full potential, like what could we be? And of course, it's even scary. And I think that's part of like imposter syndrome, where it's like, people play that game where like, well, what happens if it doesn't work out? But I think on the flip side, people play that game where it's like, what happens if it does? Like, what happens if I don't mean me specifically, I just mean I as a whole, I blow up on social media. They don't know how to handle it. But again, it just goes back to, when you get to a certain point, that's when you figure it out. There's a quote that I love, that it's two people walking in the woods, and it's the one guy says to the other guy, like, I can't see what's in front of me. And he says, could you see your next step? And he says, yes. He said, just take that. So as you take the path, it'll clear itself. And this is another analogy that popped in my head when I was running. It's one of those things where, like, you're going into a room and there's no light on in the room. You have to flick the light on. But you have to get to the doorway. You have to get there. You have to take the steps to get there, to flick the light on, to then see. And, the analogy I used in my head was, my basement. There's multiple rooms. So, you get to one doorway, you flick the light on, you could see in that room. Now you have to walk to the next room to get to the next doorway, where it's also dark. You have to flick that light on, and you keep going. And this is how you string together your path, your journey. And it's going to feel uncomfortable when you're doing new things. But as you piece it together and as you build the confidence, your life changes. Your life changes for the better. And I think it's easy to get stuck in that, like the identity and imposter syndrome of doing something new. It's buying in. But you get guys like Ronnie Coleman. You get guys like The Rock. Like, they weren't weightlifters before they picked up the first weight. You get a guy like Usain Bolt. Wasn't a sprinter until he started running. Like, you have to do. People think that like talent's just gonna fall out of the sky, and some people have God-given ability in certain areas and aspects of life. Absolutely, it's without a doubt. I mean, people don't wake up and just are built like LeBron James. It's not how it works. But those people also had to start. You have to start. Everybody has to start. And I think one of the things that I personally do is I throw myself at a lot of different tasks, because you don't know what could be your thing. I might not have even found it yet. Like, I always said to myself, like, one of my goals was to be a professional athlete in anything. When I was a little kid, it was just a big driving force for me in anything. I did not put the work in at all. But, again, who says... you see things on TV like hatchet throwing. Why not? Why not try? Darts. You might not have found your thing yet. And I think more people should explore it. It's so easy to stay in comfort and stay in the lack of confidence area where it's like, well, that's not me, or I don't want to try that. It's scary. It's scary to try new shit, and it's just the reality. Even this is weird. It's so weird. I say it every time. Every single time I sit down here, it's weird. I'm talking to my phone. It's crazy. And people actually listen to this shit, which is fucking wild. Like, I appreciate everybody that does, but it's just funny. Like, it's, when I first started, I just assumed, like, very close friends would listen. And then I know for a fact, like, people are going to listen and laugh and, like, go for it. Like, some of it is obviously humor involved. I think people are also laughing for other reasons, but it is what it is. But you see some of these episodes have, like, 100 views. It's like, who the fuck wants to listen to me talk about anything in my basement? But that's the thing. Just start. You don't know. You really don't know. It's getting over the initial scare of starting something new and allowing it to kind of evolve into whatever it could be. And a lot of us hinder ourselves and leave a lot of crumbs on the table where you have untapped potential that you might not even realize, but you're not giving yourself the opportunity to even explore it. I look back, even I was in a police academy. So being there, that was weird. That was new. I was used to being a student. I was in college prior to. So that was my identity. Now you go into police academy, it's kind of like, the fuck is this? And then, I grew up in Middletown, New Jersey, and I worked in Jersey City. Two completely different worlds. And again, it's just switching the identity, becoming more comfortable. From there, went from probably, I would say financially, one of the most secure jobs you could have. You're guaranteed to make 6 figures, guaranteed pension, all of that, to a commission-based job. It's just, these are the changes. And again, all along the way, it was just switching identity. Went from someone that was going out every single weekend, getting just hammered with friends, to someone doesn't drink. And it's like the way I spend my weekends now, like I frequent Baron Birch, which is in Freehold, it's a Russian banya. But it's like, you would have never thought, like if you talk to people that I was going out with, that I was surrounding myself with, they probably still like are like, oh yeah, that's not Vin, like this is a phase. Again, it's just identity, and being able to evolve and to change is a superpower. And I think it's something that we kind of, especially within social media, is kind of like frowned upon, where it's like, oh, what is this person doing? I was the same way, where it was like, you see someone post like a reel, and they don't generally do that, and it's just like, what is this? Or someone starts posting on their story, and it's like, who's this guy? But again, you're not that person until you become that person. So you have to stick with it. And it goes back to consistency. Even in the gym, I'm like such an amateur lifter. Like stepping on that bodybuilding stage was like, just like fucked my world up in the best way, because it was just so uncomfortable. Like I hated the idea of it. And then documenting the process, even that was brand new to me. Like I never took my phone in the gym. Like I would look at these kids that stand their phone up on like a tripod and be like, the fuck are we doing? And now my shirt's off, like in the locker room, people walk by and I just don't even care. Like there's just, you really do, you unlock a level of self-confidence that just lets you have this I don't give a fuck attitude. And it's not at anybody, it's not in a malicious way. It's just, I'm comfortable with me, I'm comfortable in my skin, I know who I am. And it's a form of self-love, and it's cool to evolve and grow in that type of capacity. Especially because it was something I lacked for so long. Again, I didn't hate myself. I think I was just lost and didn't know myself. So being who I am now, comfortable in my skin, aware of who I am, my choices, my daily actions, it's cool. It's cool and rewarding. You can't be stopped if you don't stop for anything. So it's just that. It's that pursuit of more. It's never quitting. It's being consistent. It's showing up. It's doing the work. And with that comes change. And with that changes you and helps you evolve and hit new levels. That's what this is. Kevin Hart says it. Life has a very game-like feature to it, where the more progress you make, the more challenge you throw at yourself, you evolve, you change, and you level up in it, like per se. And putting yourself through new situations, new endeavors, new ventures, you become better. And it's a video game like feature where you hit that next level, and now you get to that next level, and you find your baseline, and then it's like, okay, well, what else can I do? Again, it's not just physically, it's financially, it's relationships, it's everything, it's family, it's everything. You're creating this life. You can sit there, you could dwell in your feelings, you could dwell in the day to day, you could not change anything, you could be like a couch potato. Or you could just keep leveling up. You could keep trying new shit. Like, I'm sure people see my social media and they're like, the fuck is this kid doing? Like, and honestly, I don't know. I'm kind of just piecing together as I go and figuring it out and having fun. Literally having so much fun. We just kind of think that everybody knows and has it figured out, and nobody does. And I think it's also cool and unique in that way, because there's no plan. There's no specific plan. Like, no one actually has it all figured out. When people think they do have it all figured out is when you lose, and when you kind of get smacked in the face and woken up to a reality check, because life is just a never-ending test. It's really what it comes down to. Marathon coming up. We are going to smack the Boulder, Colorado Marathon in the face. I'm shooting for like a sub 320, 315-ish. Really, really excited. We'll see how the altitude affects me. Again, it's a variable I can't account for, so just kind of see when I get there. No excuses though. We did the work. The hard work's over. I believe I have 2 easy runs until the marathon itself. Really, really excited. Chance to see a new place. And but thank you. Please like, comment, subscribe, and share. And see you next episode.